All right, man. AG Surfer back with the. I don't know if this is the second vid. Yeah, second vid. Second vid. About to say trifecta. No tray, man. Just dose. Dose. All right. Let's see if I can make this one a little faster, eh? Probably not. I'm a slow dude sometimes, but I gotta hustle. I am supposed to get to work. I did pick this up a while back from Barnes and Noble. When Barnes, I posted something I think on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. Yeah. I've been on Instagram for a hot moment now, but I posted something a while back with Barnes and Noble having their trade paperback sale. I think it was buy two get one free, and that's a decent deal. But I know you guys can get trade paperbacks out there cheaper. You can find them cheaper. But when I see those sales, I still post them and figure if folks want to do it. I'd gone in, I didn't find any trade paperbacks that I needed or wanted. Especially, I mean, yeah, when they're like 10, $15, $20, sometimes even $30 a piece for a trade paperback, you're going to spend 60 bones and you get three of them. I don't know. Do the math. Anyhow, instead of that, I picked up this and I opened it up. Marvel Comics poster collection. These things are just 40 removable posters, man. Obviously, that right there sold me. Spidey on the front of an AF-15 cover. I was sold. So snagged with this bad boy because Spidey's on it. And on the back, they show you a few more of what is on the inside. And these are actually reversible. So there's more like 20 of them in here. 20 removable posters, but there's a print on each side. So they double down. So after I seen the back, I'm like, okay, those are cool. And the one there's a lot of choice images in here. I mean, obviously, I was hoping for Hulk 181's in there, so that's what I was really rooting for. I was rooting for some old Spideys and some Hulk 181. And it actually has the Silver Surfer #4 as well, the Rainbow Bridge with Thor. So yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's not, I don't know what it's like a resin. So it's got some weight, but you can hear it's almost a little solid. All right, me messing off the time. Let's see if I can. I'll just leave it up there. See if the comics will fit. All right. So I was on vacation. This is already August. Yeah, late June, early July. I was over in the islands, and being out there, I come across this old antique store that I've been in a few times. Like every so many years that I head out to the islands, I usually hit up this antique store just checking stuff out. And the gentleman's had comics in there before, but there were nothing I was interested in. And this time, I'm looking at the books again, and I'm like, it's pretty much the same stuff from like a year or so ago when I was there. And this time, the gal from the store walks up, and she's like, "Oh, my husband's got some books he wants to sell. They're just not in the store." And so we swap information. I said, "Oh yeah, I'd definitely like to look at them until your husband brings them in and give me a call back. And, I'm here for a few more days, and let's see what the man's got." So sure enough, the gal calls. The husband calls me up like a couple hours later and says, "Hey, he'll bring in comics the following day. Come on back." And my wife and I do. And my wife's again, Sue Storm's very cool about this situation. She lets me dig through these books. He tells me all the books are. Let's see. Yeah, all the comics are $5 each in this box. But, this being on the islands, and these comics this guy's got, a lot of them are really, really beat up. I mean, well, these are fairly beat up too, to a point. Some are better than others, but it's all about the rusted staples. And I'm not real familiar with rusty staples, but I opened up every one. They all had a smell to them, because they're old books, and they were just in like really old bags, no boards. And I'm pretty sure these bags were past their prime, when they're all yellowing, and then it's a different climate. So those bags, I don't think they pull 20 years on those, man. And I'm fumbling here with books, so 4 minutes in, dang. If you guys are still here, thank you. If not, I understand because I'm not showing off one single book. But I'm gonna go ahead. This one I'll show off. It's a magazine size because I don't have a bag and board on it. So let's try to figure out how to find some space here and show off some books. But the Spectacular Spider-Man now in full color. This was $5. Again, I'm sure I overpaid for some of these or whatever. It really isn't my thing. But I thought I'm buying on the island, and it's all good. And the staples, I went through them to check out the staples, and everything was still intact. Like none of the pages got separated. even though they look like they possibly could or can based on the condition of the staple, the staples are still pretty strong. I try to wipe them down with a cotton swab, or a cotton thing, but nothing heavy. Not a lot of stuff came off. But that book right there, I figured, hey, that's cool. That's a sweet Spidey for $5. You know, he did. So let me put these two aside because these are different priced. He kind of snuck in some books at the end. These books definitely they're looking a lot better now since I've placed them in some oversized bags and boards, and they're fresh, so the color, everything's looking a little better. But you can see, obviously, breaks at the staple, you know. And again, some of the staple rust on some of these everything pretty much had staple rust. I think only one or two books, after I dug through them, the staples weren't rusted. So honestly, I don't know how that's going to affect the grade. Iron Man 47, the Tomb of Dracula #5. Man, he had that Thor book, which I have encapsulated, but he had the Thor with him. And some of his books it wasn't that the whole top was cut off, of the cover, but it was notched out by the price. So some of the books were cut into, and I told him about that. He asked me, he's like, why did they cut into the books? And I said, way back when the vendors, whether and they weren't necessarily comic book stores, obviously, because there wasn't a lot of those around. But whether it be a 7-Eleven or some mom and pop shop selling comic books off a spinner rack, when they didn't sell the books off, they would cut the price tag out and send it as getting a refund. So that's why you'll find old books that are, if the whole top is missing off the cover, but the book is complete, it's because they cut it off because the company, Marvel, or I believe it was mostly Marvel, it was one way for them to get a refund on the comic book they didn't sell. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. Marvel Triple Action, I believe this one, the staples are really nice. Decided to pick that up. Incredible Hulk, king size #3. I mean, for books that are that old and on the island, I was basically looking for water damage, moisture damage, all that. And obviously the moisture there and the high humidity affected the staples or whatever, but it didn't warp the comics per se. Or real crazy, or I don't see wasn't a lot of staining. Okay, 1209. Daredevil #82. Again, these are all, I don't think, I want to say they're like less, they're obviously not, some might be mid-grade, some just definitely aren't. And then when it comes to rusted staples, I got to learn about rusted staples because I know that affects the grade. And granted, none of these necessarily are slab worthy. I didn't buy them to slab them. I just bought them to have them. I don't buy everything to slab comics, believe it or not. So, and anyways, you can see the discoloration on this one at the base, how it faded. And that's more or less when they take the comic books, and again, he had, if you stack them like this, if they're sitting over time and one's exposed to sunlight, or an edge of a book is sticking out, I mean, that's what's going to happen to a comic. So Incredible Hulk 157, but these colors are still good. The spines, there's always some spine ticks, but nothing really, really bad. So Amazing Spidey, I did get a Spidey. I was really stoked. 93. King size Captain America #1. Oh yeah, this time's going, huh? I did find some DC, man. Picked up the Detective Comics right there. 414, Batman and Batgirl. This cover, I was digging it, man. I just decided to get it for $5. Plus, these staples look pretty darn good. The Phantom Stranger. And I wasn't looking anything up, So I get these books, I get up there, I got this, whatever, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, I figured, $50 worth of books, $50, $55 worth of books. I thought, okay, I'm good. Because he had one little box he brought in. Actually, two short boxes he brought in. Some things were bagged and boarded, and most of them were just kind of just in a bag. And yeah, those bags were just yellowing and gnarly and smelled. When I got back to my room, I actually took all the comic books out and just let them air out, man, for like a couple of days in the room. Of course, I threw all those bags away. But yeah, let the books just breathe. Let them all sit around. Stack them, whatever. Get them out of those bags before I rebag them. And so as I'm getting up to the register, and I said, yeah, I spent some time looking at all this stuff. He shows me some more he had behind the counter. He's like, I just brought these ones in because and he had some decent keys back there. But again, then on the Marvel books, but it was cut out. So I'm like, nah, man. And he started hitting the price guide. He started looking things up online on prices, and so he looked this one up, and this one's a little jacked. You know, definitely it's not perfect, but he wanted 15, and I was like, or actually he wanted 20 for this. And I was looking at him going, nah, I'm all right, man. So I set it down. And then I was really eyeballing this one for being. This is probably one of the sharpest books, in my opinion, he had overall solid. It's got issues here. The staples are probably, they're recessed in a little bit. There's some minor rust, nothing heavy. But the color, the green, the hulking thing, and all this black in here. I mean, there's nothing. The edges, it's pretty sharp around here. It's just down here. So this has really caught my eye, and I'm like, oh, this is fantastic, as in Fantastic Four. So that one, he's like 15, so I didn't haggle him. I'm like, okay, I'll give you 15 for this. And then he's looking this one up, because he looked this one up, and he's like, the price ranged from, it was like 30. He's like, oh, it's 30 to whatever if it's slabbed. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's obviously not slabbed, but so I'm like, well, this isn't a $30 book. And he's like, how about 15? I'm all, okay, nah, that's fine. And then when I came to this one again, he was like, he's looking it up, and he knows it's first appearance of Spidey's parents or whatever, because it gives him all that information. And he comes up with that, he's all 20. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. And then as he's ringing me up, he goes, how about 15 then for this Spidey? And I'm looking at it again. I'm like, all right. I'm like, you know what? I'm sure I overpaid for some of these, or who knows, whatever. But I'm like, I don't buy comics there that often, especially when I'm on the islands. And I'm like, you know what? If it helps a guy out, mom and pop shop, that's cool. I mean, I was still feeling kind of more of $5 or $10, but it's all good. If anything, he threw in. It's a mom and pop shop that runs. He's got it's an old antique store, but he also has really good ice cream. So the selling point was, he goes, I tell you what, all this 15, all these 5, and I'll throw in some ice cream. So that was really the selling point, the free ice cream. So that was it. All right, guys and gals, thanks a lot. Now this video's carrying on, and I got to get to work. I got to make the money to pay for this stuff, because this stuff ain't free, unfortunately, not all the time. All right, so with that being said, maybe I'll be back with more vids in later time frame. Thanks for everyone hanging in there, staying around, checking this stuff out. Really appreciate it. And again, there's a lot of great channels, a lot of great videos out there, a lot of cool new guys coming up through the ranks there. A lot of folks need a lot of subs. There's a lot of guys and gals doing some vids. Probably mostly guys, but hey, appreciate it. Thanks. Take care. Later.